Welcome back to the Shimpling Park Farm Diary, where we're bringing the farm to you. Those of you watching last week will remember that Sam was trying to make some lovely meadow hay, but sadly he got caught out with the rain. Anyway, it's finally dried out, so he's back to turn it into rows, and then his equally lovely dad will come and turn it into bales. One of the questions I got asked after last week's diary entry was what's the difference between hailage, silage and hay?
Hay is your really dry grass where you've dried it right out to bale. Hailage is where it's been dried out but not quite hay. Silage is where you mow it and then you don't ted it, you just bale it straight away.
So why doesn't it go rotten?
Because you wrap it in the plastic and that seals it, so it ferments and you have to get all the oxygen out.
While Sam was really busy making hay, Robert and George and Cameron and Lily have been incredibly busy making all this hailage. This we're going to use to feed our ewes in the winter when there's less grass about. I've got some friends camping here on the farm this week, and they happen to be great butterfly enthusiasts, and it is National Butterfly Count Week. So, Colin, can you tell me, does this make good habitat for butterflies?
I think it makes a marvellous habitat for butterflies. You've got all the plant species you could possibly want, really. And there's scabious. We've seen huge numbers of peacocks on the scabious. There's meadow bedstraw there. There's lots of knapweed, which is really good for butterflies. We've been looking for all sorts of butterflies for years and haven't always seen what we want, but we have done here, haven't we?
Absolutely fantastic.
A bonnet moth and a peacock on the same bit of scabious.
Yeah, lovely.
How pretty is that? What's the best way to look for a butterfly?
Stop, pause, and just wait. Keep looking, and then your eye gets used to it, and then the butterflies arrive.
Can anyone go butterfly counting?
Yes, yes.
You can download a really simple identification chart from the Big Butterfly Count website. You can also log on there whatever you've seen as part of the national count. What did you say was an exciting one for you?
The clouded yellow. We've been waiting about 3 years to see one of those.
And did you see one here?
We saw one here on your farm.
We saw two.
Absolutely fantastic.
How exciting.
They're not rare, but they're elusive. They love clover and knapweed. So the two things, you've got exactly what they need.
Clover field with the knapweed around the edge was perfect, and there it was, flying past us yesterday.
Organic farms can appear a little messier than conventional ones, but insects and butterflies do seem to love our weeds and our wildflowers. This is a Triticale crop, which we planted right at the beginning of the farm diary, at the beginning of lockdown. Not quite ready to harvest. This is an experimental field where we're deliberately growing two crops at the same time, beans and oats. And the reason for that is to take the risk out of having one crop in case of a failure, and to see whether the synergy between any plants is helping the other grow. We're waiting for them to become ripe in order to harvest them at the same time, and then we separate the seed out afterwards. Peter's changed all the cutter blades on the back of the combine in preparation to start harvest. Earlier on in the diary we saw that it was serviced a month or two ago, so we're absolutely ready to go as soon as the weather permits and the crops permit. It seems amazing to think that when we started this farm diary at the beginning of lockdown, we hadn't got 50% of our seeds in the ground yet, and now we're thinking about harvesting them. Greg's also absolutely double testing all the bits of equipment that will go through some hard use. What are you checking?
Checking the bearings and the brakes. Everything's all right.
It's not going to collapse over harvest?
Hopefully not. Check the tires.
What you don't want is breakdowns during harvest when you're really against the weather and the time. Paul's carrying on in his ditching programme to allow the fields to drain well, which seems bizarre in the summer, but when this ditch is full of water in the winter, we'll be very grateful. Hopefully by next week we'll be harvesting, and we'll have a catch-up on how those lambs are doing. See you then.